Welcome to a new episode in our series Cosmology. Today with our guest, Dr. Helena Avelar from Lisbon in Portugal. Greetings.
Thank you for inviting me.
Very good. And we take the computer for help. On our homepage, cosmology.vonabisw.de, you have a sub-site which is called Traditional Astrology, and there we have Dr. Helena Avelar de Carvalho. Is that Carvalho? Is that some nobility?
Perhaps lots of generations ago, but now it's just a common name. Carvalho, it's the name of a tree, actually. It means oak tree.
Oh, okay. Now, we have here a timeline. In the interview with Chris Brennan, which we have on our film list on our YouTube channel, about the Astra project, there is you mentioned that in 1992 you started to get seriously with astrology, with the studies of astrology. And on the same time, you said that astrology has been with you all the time. I'm interested in that all the time. Okay. You were born somewhere around 1965, is that right?
64.
64. And you said astrology has been around. You are sort of a new age child, sort of. Was the astrology in your household?
No, not really. I was brought up with my grandparents, maternal grandparents, and I was a child, a very active child as a child, and especially at night. So I wouldn't sleep. And my maternal grandfather, he decided to take upon himself to put me to bed and put me to sleep every night. So he began talking, with traditional stories, like Little Red Riding Hood and things like that. And he very soon ran out of stories. So we decided to make up a few stories, and I, of course, understood they were made up. And I said, no, I want real stories. So my grandfather, in despair, resorted to Greek mythology.
Oh.
Okay. So he edited some parts because, Greek mythology is a bit more for adults than for children, but he decided to edit some parts. And he began telling me the classic Greek mythology. And I was absolutely fascinated. I used to say that I was the last pagan in Europe because I was kind of really believing in the Greek gods and everything. And then from there, I noticed that some of the gods have the same name as the planets. And from there, we began studying the planets and how many satellites, like more in astronomy, actually, satellites of Jupiter and things like that. And then I went into this newspaper astrology. And the interesting thing is like solar sign and everything. And I always thought that this kind of astrology was not the real thing. For some reason, I thought like it has to be something else. It has to be something else. It has to be better than this. And then in 78, I think it was in 78, I don't remember, 78, 79 or 80 perhaps, I don't know. Maybe late 70s, beginning of the 80s, I found out a book in Portuguese written by someone that I later come to meet, and it's now my friend, but someone that was like with a pen name and everything, like a book on astrology, including a few tables for planetary positions. So this was for me like a treasure. And I began like calculating horoscopes as a child with mistakes, of course, and with a compass, drawing them and everything. So I was very happy to know about planetary positions and not only the sun sign and also the ascendant and everything. So I began like trying my hand in astrology when I was like, I would say like, I don't know, 16 perhaps. And then we get to 92, where I had my horoscope made by someone.
Why? Why did you have your horoscope made? Was that by chance, or did you have a plan?
I wanted to understand how they do it.
Okay.
And I was not very happy, I have to say, because the person who did it was a bit Oh, well, I would say, let's say, not the best of the practitioners, but I understood how they did it. And I began studying, and then I found more books. And this was like the 80s. And so we had more books. When I get to my first professional horoscope in 92, I had already a good idea of my own horoscope and of the horoscopes of other people I knew. So, well, I was quite into it. And I began studying, and I thought for myself, well, it has to be more. It's not just,
Yeah, okay.
That was it. And
So
I
in
began studying.
1992, you are then already how old? 64,
28.
38, right?
28.
2020. So tell us, what was your mode of living? Did you work? Did you study? Did you study and then work? What was before
I used to be a
92?
journalist.
Oh, did you go to
Yes.
journalist school?
Yes, I went, and then I just quickly transitioned it into like an apprentice, how do you say, being like a trainee. And then for 2 years I was a trainee, and then they offered me the job, and I was for 10 or 12 years a journalist.
In a print paper
Print,
or
yes, press, not TV, just press.
a famous one?
And I quite enjoyed it, but it was not really my life goal, but I enjoyed it.
Was it an important newspaper in Portugal? A large one?
Several newspapers. I was
Oh,
like
okay.
working, and also as a freelancer. So I was
Oh,
like
okay.
in several newspapers. They were pretty important. Yes, I enjoyed it. It was a good experiment for me, but
And
not really
and how long did that last, the professional activity?
like about I would be like because there were two stages here. One is like a journalist full time, and then like freelance already into astrology,
Oh,
like for
okay.
2 or 3 years. So it
So,
was like no, wait, like about 9 years, 9, 10 years as full time, and more 2 or 3 years as a
okay.
freelance journalist.
And where are we now? In what year?
We are like about 93 or something like that.
And then did you decide to leave the profession of journalism completely?
No, I stay as a freelancer and occasionally working for people that I knew, and also
Okay.
working for news agencies that I knew. So I
Yes.
was like half
Okay.
in astrology and half in journalism.
Okay. Somewhere around in that time frame, the School of Integrated Astrology gets to be founded. Did you
That's
find
99.
that's
That's
99?
99.
Oh, what happened before that? Did you become a teacher before that, or did your teaching career in astrology start in 1999?
In astrology started in 99. Because I met my partner, Luis. He was already a teacher in astrology,
Oh,
and we decided to teach together.
okay. So you met your partner. How did that happen?
We had friends in common because we
Oh,
had interests in common, and we had people that we knew in common, and then we met.
and then you decided we stick together, and he already was a teacher. Did you already have the school, or did you
No,
found the two of you founded? Now we go back to the
yes,
school founding. You founded the School of Integrated Astrology. Now, what does the term integrated mean
okay,
in that time for you? Because you haven't been a traditional astrologer by then. So
no,
integration of astrology must mean some integrating of different methods,
yeah,
schools without the tradition, right?
yes. So by then I began learning astrology, as I think everybody did by that time, last century, which was contemporary astrology
Yes,
and
The Jungian
psychological.
psychological astrology, I
Yeah,
suppose.
Jungian and psychological and
Yes.
everything. So we were very unsatisfied with it. We thought it was extremely
No,
subjective.
not so fast, not so fast. I'm still wondering about the term integrated. What did you
I
integrate?
will explain. This is the reason I'm bringing this up, because I will explain this, and because we were not very happy with what was being done by then, we decided to bring already some ideas, some of the traditional ideas.
Oh,
mainly
already
because,
then. Okay,
yes,
okay,
already then,
okay.
mainly because we wanted to know why things were as they were. We wanted to know the root of these ideas. Why are they like this?
Yes.
Why is Saturn considered not a good planet? Why is Venus good? And all these things. And people normally resorted to mythology, which is for me not really a good explanation. So why? And mainly because the planets had other names before the Romans and the Greeks. We already had astrology before they were even existing, and so the symbolism of the planets cannot be drawn from Greek mythology per se because it existed before. So all this complex relation between astrology and mythology was not very satisfying for us, and we decided to study the tradition also for another reason, because in the pre-modern times, before the 17th century, the astrologers were actually respected counselors and not just people who work in the margins of society. So for them to have this role in society, they had to have really good techniques. They had to have really good knowledge of their trade. Otherwise, they would not be respected. So we wanted to know what kind of techniques they had. So we began looking into the tradition, and then integrated means that we
Oh.
were not doing only contemporary, but
So you didn't,
also
so you didn't have this experience. I take a quote from the Ancient Astrology and Theory and Practice from Demetra George, and she said, during 1 week in July 2001, the tower of astrology that I had carefully constructed over 25 years fell like a house of cards. So that wasn't your experience. You were
no,
unsatisfied.
no.
You were quite unsatisfied, more or less, from the beginning.
Yes, yes. It was not the tower. It was more like a transition.
Yes. Okay.
And then therefore we chose this word integrated, like a transition term, so to say, that meaning that we were working with contemporary astrology, of course, but also with some parts of the tradition, and we were like learning more and more of the tradition.
Okay, when you say you were learning, that is a time frame where already some of the translation papers in English had been
Yeah.
published.
Yes.
Do you remember a couple of those papers? Did you read them in those days already, or did that come later?
I did. I also studied with Robert Zoller, and I mean directly with Robert, not with the
Okay,
library.
so stop a moment. When did you get to know about Robert Soller, and how did you come to meet him?
I don't know the year. It was probably 2001,
Okay,
perhaps.
yeah.
Yeah, perhaps because, and we invited him to Lisbon.
Oh,
He,
okay.
yeah, he was by then married with Diana. Diana, now she's Diana Warwick. She was Diana Zoller by then. And he came to Lisbon and he gave a lecture, and we talked. We had the opportunity to talk and to have fun and to go to places. So it was really, really nice. And by then, I think we had already had his course. And
Okay.
also, there's another thing that probably people who speak English are not very much aware of, maybe now, but in Spain, our neighbor country, they had a very long tradition of translating into
Yes.
Castilian, into Spanish, old books of astrology. So I could read their
Yes.
books.
Yeah, we
And
have this. We have Raphael Schilbrand in Germany, who was a part of this translation project in Spain because he comes from Spain, and they translated Ben Rachel, I believe.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, and others. So I had all these Spanish books with the tradition or parts of the tradition. So I was always also into this, and Robert Soller and other books, and William Lilly. I had the Libro Completo, which is the Ali Ben Hagel, and others. So everything was coming our way, so to say. And
Did you
then we
did you
get,
did you sometimes feel lost like I do? I have now books behind me, quite a number of those old ones, and I sometimes feel like in a jungle. How do you
Yes,
how do you
exactly.
find your way through all these different Julius Maternus and Valens, and is that different, Dorotheus, Porphyrius, and all those people, and then you come to Bonatti, and then you come to Morat de Villefranche, and then to Christian William Lilly. How do you on earth establish your situation and earning money with it? I am privately doing this. I don't earn any money with that. But you had a school to live on. You had pupils. How did they react to your transitional approach and to offer them old techniques? Did they embrace
Okay,
it?
that is two questions. Let me just rewind a little bit for the first, and then I will
Yeah.
reply to the second. How do I survive in the jungle?
Yes.
um, I one of my projects, and then I'm jumping to our
Yes.
this year, is the Astra project. It's like the study of astrological techniques and concepts throughout time, and I want to know how they evolve throughout time. And by evolve, I don't mean they are getting better. I just how they change throughout time. So this is one of the things that I'm doing with my partner, the Astro project, and it is an academic project. So what I do to defend myself is trying to understand them throughout time. This also protects me from another thing that I see some people in astrology doing, that is like just preferring one period to another period. I'm biased towards medieval because I'm a medievalist by study, by vocation, but I want to know the techniques, how they evolve. So it's like a diachronical study of techniques. So we understand, and we understand them in their proper context. We have Hellenistic techniques in the Hellenistic period with the Hellenistic mind frame and with the Hellenistic house system and everything. And then we go to the medieval, and then we had another thing, and then early modern, another. So this is more, I have to say that as an historian, this kind of periods that we put in our minds, these categories, they don't exist really. It's just our minds. People, things are fluid, and knowledge is fluid, and it does like flow like water throughout time. But and we are the ones who are like trying to put them in little boxes. But anyway, this is how I survive.
Oh, okay.
When we came to 2004, we met another person that was very important to us, Susan Ward. She's
Okay.
horary astrologer, and she's also someone who studies history. And she came to Portugal. We invited her. She came to Portugal to teach a little bit of horary astrology, traditional horary astrology. It's her specialty, and she studies mainly William Lilly, not mainly now, but by then. So we decided by then, oh, this is probably funny for you. By then, we were using the horoscopes that we were using. We decided to put the new planets in kind of a shade, not so strong as the others. Meaning that we need to understand the traditional planets, and then we can add them. But by then, when we get to 2004, we decided to become what we call as a joke, born again traditionalists.
So
And this is,
that was your Damascus.
yeah, this is a joke, of course.
Okay.
It was our Damascus, but it was also like a natural outcome of what we were
Okay.
doing, because we were doing it already. So it was not like a sharp transition. It was more like an outcome. And by then, replying to your question, our students were already aware of this, and most of them were quite eager to come along in this adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite a big change, because I don't know, but if you know, but my partner, he has studied pedagogy, so pedagogical methods, and we both think that it's very important to teach astrology in a specific way. Astrology cannot be taught as like Lego, like Lego pieces. Like you
Yes,
cannot put
yes,
together things. Like
yes.
we cannot just pick the planet and put them in a sign and say something and then put them in a house and say something like, you cannot just go like Venus in Aries, blah, 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 Venus
Yes.
in Taurus, blah, blah, blah. You cannot do this. You have to understand what really the planets mean and how they interact with the sign. And so we have a special way of teaching, our method. And yes, part of that is in the book, and part of that is kind of direct, as it always were, because astrology was, when we have the books, it's like a part of astrology, and then the other part has to be related to direct knowledge and direct transmission. So yes, when we changed between this kind of integrated astrology and into full-fledged traditional astrology, we had to change a little bit our method.
Mhm.
And one thing that we notice today is that if we learn the tradition, now we have people who have learned the tradition since their beginning, so they know the tradition. So if they want to integrate other things like new planets or other things, they are fine because they have the all, they have the tradition, they have the basis, they are very solid in their knowledge, and then they can bring something else. It is okay. If you learn astrology as we all did before, as I did, with beginning with the new planets, and the new planets were everything, and they were like changes and surprises and uh, I don't know, transformation and all this, you cannot really understand the tradition because we are so much focused on the new planets. So for us, it's very important for people, anybody, even if you want to be a very modern astrologer and you want to include all the asteroids in the universe, even so, it's very important to know the system and
Okay.
to understand how the system works and how it works. Why does it work like this and not in any other way?
Are you
So,
familiar?
and then you can bring everything
Yeah.
else.
Are you familiar with the talk of Robert Hand on 2005 on the London meeting of the Astrology Association of Great Britain? He was talking about postmodern astrology. Are you familiar with this talk?
I know what it is. I have never heard it.
Ah, okay.
I
Well,
will.
it's printed in German, curiously,
Oh,
in this book, Traditional Astrology on the Chiron Verlag. It's in the description of this video, Traditionelle Astrologie, and he talks about. I try to translate this back into English. Postmodern astrology is not a fatalistic prognostication astrology. It will be an astrology of enlightenment, of self-realization, self-becoming, and the conscience, which includes the whole rest of astrology. Do you think that's a realistic vision?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know what he means by modern astrology because now we
Yeah,
don't have like one modern astrology. You have
yeah,
opinions of 5,000 people. So
yes, yes,
maybe he's right in what he means by modern astrology. He's probably right, but I don't know what he means by
yeah.
modern
Okay.
astrology. What
How
I
about
think
how
now
about
is,
how about yourself? You have studied the psychological astrology school in the beginning, so you must have come about Carl Gustav Jung and the archetypal approach.
of course,
Um, in your personal practice, do you exclude the archetypal sort of philosophy, or is the archetypal philosophy of Jung part of your philosophy of astrology?
I don't know if it is part of it. Of course, I don't talk in those terms. But Jung was kind of drinking from the tradition. So I am
Yes.
also drinking from the same source. I just don't use this. And I think that most people, and I don't want to be offensive, but really
No. It's,
most people just take the ride on Jung, to be
yeah.
like scientific.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have never even read Jung. So
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
so I don't know. I think that Jung was a serious person, a serious researcher, and he was mainly interested in synchronicity. And for him, astrology was one of these examples of
Yes. Yes.
synchronicity. So his focus was more like synchronicity, and astrology was like one of the examples.
Yes.
So, but I don't think we need Jung for,
Okay.
um, for validation.
Yes.
I respect his work, and I sometimes I regret what is being done with his work because it's a serious work.
Yes. Yeah.
But what I can reply to you on this is, I think Jung drank from the same source that we are drinking,
Yeah.
tradition.
Now, after you have published the Heavenly Spheres and the course book in somewhere around 2000,
2011.
yes, you started with your master, but before that you did a bachelor studies, right? How long did that take, and when did it start?
4 years, and started in 2004.
So in 2004 you went back to university.
Yes.
How did you earn your living?
I was by then teaching astrology.
Oh, in part-time, you on the school, you earned your living, and then you could study at the university.
Yes.
Okay. And what did you study in the bachelor period? What
History.
subject? Only history?
History. Only history. Yes.
Only history?
Yes, it was my choice.
Oh, that's different. In this kind in Germany, you couldn't do that anymore. In 2004, you couldn't study just one subject. You had at least to have two or probably three. And then you became a bachelor graduate, and then you started your master thesis. How did you come about this lady Maria de Lourdes
She was my teacher.
in the bachelor in the bachelor?
Yes.
Ah, and how did she react when she realized that you are a practicing astrologer?
She didn't.
She didn't react because she didn't know?
Yeah, I went to my BA, and I just went there, and I said I am a former journalist, and now I'm studying history.
Oh, you were undercover. Okay.
No, I don't really need, I don't feel the need, I don't understand these people who are practicing astrologers, and the first thing they do when they get to a place is like, I'm an astrologer.
Ah,
I don't
okay.
do this. I just, no,
Okay.
some people knew I was not hiding, and I was not announcing it. I was just there, you
Okay.
know.
But
So
then,
yeah, some people were aware of it and some people were not.
but then sometime in this process, you decided to do a master thesis which has some
Of
sort of
course, yes.
astrology context. How
I
did you?
went there. I went there, and I chosen her because she's, first of all, very good, and she's a very intelligent person, and she studies. She's a medievalist, a good
Okay.
one, I have to say, and she studies something that is not astrological, but is astrologically related, which is mysticism and religion.
Okay.
And I said, look, I would like to, and she knew me, so she knew she would somehow, trust in my work. She knew what I could do. And I said, I want to do an MA on the astrological practices of the Portuguese royal court.
Okay.
She looked
And
at me, and she probably thought, oh, she's completely mad at this point.
okay.
And she said, maybe you should do something else. And I said, no, I want this. And then she said, oh, okay, so bring me some bibliography on the topic, because I don't think we have anything in the Portuguese courts. And I said, okay. So I brought like a long list of bibliography, because by then, 2000 and I would say 2009 or something like that. By the end of my BA, already we had lots of people working in France, in England, in Germany. We had lots of people working on this. And I brought a long list of books or theses or something related to this. And she was like, okay, can you find something in Portugal? And I said, I don't know. This is the topic of my MA. Let's see. So I began researching the Royal Chronicles and other documents, private documents of kings and everything in medieval times, not in modern times. And I found quite a lot of interesting things. Of course, I did, because, it's medieval times. And so she learned a lot. And she's clever enough and integral enough to understand that she had a lot to learn on this. And so she enjoyed it very much, I think. We enjoyed it very much working together.
For an MA paper, you need a second professional to look over the paper, peer review. We call it Gutachter. And you found Coco von Stuckrad, the professor in Groningen and religious science. How did you manage to find Coco von Stuckrad?
I was supposed to go to, in 2004, before all this, I was supposed to go to Amsterdam to this conference, Horoscopes and History.
Was that an event with Hanegraaft? Walter Hanegraaft?
Sorry?
Was that from Professor
Yes,
Hanegraaft?
I think so. It was Coco and
Coco was the
Pingree
assistant professor in Amsterdam then, I believe.
Yeah, and I was aware of his existence, and I couldn't go to Amsterdam, but my partner went, and he made some contacts, very interesting contacts, and he made a good friend that's still his friend right now. So I was aware of Coco, and then in 2009, when I decided to begin my MA, I wrote him an email.
Okay.
Because he was supposed to come to Spain for some reason. And I said, if you come to Spain and if I meet you in Spain, would you have like half an hour to talk to me? And he said, he replied saying, unfortunately, I will not be able to come to Spain, but we can talk. So what do you want? And I explained, I would like you to introduce you to my MA project, because I would like you to be my second supervisor. And he said, why don't you come to Groningen? So I went to Groningen, talking to him, and I presented my MA project to him and to other teachers there. And he said, well, okay, it's kind of a very good idea. And he decided to be my second supervisor. That
Very
was
good.
it.
Okay. So now you are MA. And how did you come about to decide you want to become a PhD?
I was not fed up yet. I was
Okay.
not. No,
Okay.
I enjoy study very, very much. I do enjoy. This is something that I could do forever.
Yes.
I love research, and I thought that we had some documents here that would deserve a PhD, that would deserve to be researched and studied in the context of a PhD. Therefore, I put up a presentation and I asked Coco von Stuckrad, what do you think of this? And he said, well, maybe not here in Germany, because you won't have a grant here, but why don't you talk to my student? And he introduced me by email to a student of his that was by then at the Warburg Institute. And
Okay.
she said, why don't you talk to Professor Charles Burnett?
Okay.
And I did. So that was it.
Can you elaborate what you said? I talked to Charles Burnett. Did you go to London to meet him?
Yeah. First, I sent an email and I introduced myself, and I said that Siske, that was the person that he had as a student by then, suggested his name, and my project was so and so, and I would like to ask him if he would be interested in being my supervisor. And he said, why don't you come to London? And we talked directly. And so I did. I went to London, and I stayed at a friend's house. It was like, I remember it was April 2014. It was raining a lot, or 2013. Well, it was April and it was raining a lot. And when I got to the Warburg Institute, I was kind of soaked completely. And in Portugal, we say it's a sign of good luck for some reason. So I was kind of very optimistic. I went there, and I don't know if you know Charles, but he's absolutely charming.
I've seen your video with him on your Astro project video.
He's a great academic, and he's a lovely person. Lovely.
I had the feeling he is not a materialist. Is that correct?
Oh no, absolutely not.
So
Absolutely
I had
not.
the feeling that astrology is more to him than just a subject of research in history. Is that correct?
I would say he stands in the middle.
Okay.
He doesn't want to lose his academic
reputation
look.
is important, yes.
Oh no, not the reputation. He doesn't. He is such a, well, he's like at the top of his career, there's nothing to lose by
Yeah.
then.
Okay.
It's not about reputation, it's about objectivity. It's
Okay.
more about objectivity. He doesn't
Okay.
want to lose his academic objectivity, but
So
he's very
he
much,
wants to keep a certain distance to the luring astrology goddess. Is that?
yes, yeah. To the muse Urania,
Yeah. Okay.
very seductive.
Yeah. And he didn't want that. That's your.
No, he's kind of, I would say, I cannot speak for himself,
Yeah.
but my
Okay.
perception of him is like he's kind of intensely fascinated by all these topics,
Okay.
and at the same time intensely motivated to stay academically objective.
Okay.
So it's like this.
Would you agree on my evaluation that Charles Burnett is the grandmaster, sort of guru of this research in the history of astrology worldwide?
Yes, absolutely. And he's also like a very good person. And I have to say this in a personal note. When he has a student under his wing, he does everything. He's really like fighting for us, like pushing and pushing and really fighting for us. And not only fighting for us, but fighting with us. And the other thing that he has that's very, very good is that he's always eager to learn new things. He's extremely curious about life and about knowledge. And he's not in this position that I know everything. Absolutely not. He's like always learning more. It reminds me of there is this saying in Jewish tradition. I know this is completely off topic, but in Jewish tradition, there's this saying. It's a question: who is wise? And the answer is wise is who the person who learns from everyone. The wise man is the one who learns from everyone. And I always remember Charles about this because he learns from everything. He's completely open to new knowledge. He's always learning. And he has this kind of enthusiasm that you don't find in older people sometimes, or in academics that are at the top of their career. Sometimes they are a bit, okay, they are like, I have seen everything. He has not seen
You
everything.
mean the ivory tower people? Okay.
Yeah, he's not in an ivory tower. He's really outside in the world
Yeah.
learning.
Okay.
So I was
Okay.
extremely lucky to have him as my supervisor.
You bordered on Jewish tradition and you are an expert in historical studies on medieval times. So you must have come around the Kabbalah tradition in the medieval times. Did it affect you?
You mean if I suffer from it?
It depends. You could be drawn into it, like the
Of
goddess
course,
of
yes.
Kabbalah. And then you
No,
could
I found it funny that
practice
you
it.
find, does it affect you like I'm suffering? No. Yes, of course, it has touched me, if you want. And
Yeah.
it's a very interesting topic. But and it's obviously related to astrology, of course.
Yes.
But it would be like the matter of another PhD. So
So
I try to.
it's not your private life cup of tea.
Well, my private life is very much private.
Okay. So let's add another topic of the medieval times. The Picatrix was published somewhere around the 10th century, 1000 or something, or 900, and then you come to Agrippa von Nettesheim. Is the astrological magic a subject which affects you? To use the same phrase.
Yes, it affects me. I don't suffer from it. It doesn't cause me any suffering. Yes, of course, of course. Astrology was astrology was kind of the frame where all these activities
Yes.
would happen, and astrology would provide the proper moment for things. Although there are some academics that think that they were like practicing regardless of astrological configurations, and I think some people would. But in general terms, astrology would provide the times and the configurations that would potentiate all the magic acts, all the magic words, all the magic would be kind of sustained and happening inside this context, this astrological context. So there is no way that we can separate things. So when I say that Kabbalah would be the topic of another PhD, I don't mean it's separated. It's not really. But we can, if we want to study one of the things in depth, we need like I would say we need like 3 lifetimes for all the things.
For your academic career, that's certainly true. But then you have the private life in the free time, if there is free time. Sometimes there isn't.
Sometimes there is.
Did you ever execute or participate in an astrological magical ritual in your life?
Well, if you are aware of magic, you will know that the first rule of magic is this.
Okay, I had to try. Okay, come back to Warburg Institute. When you do a PhD in the Warburg Institute with your mentor, Charles Burnett, how do I have to visualize it? Do you live in London and go there every day for studies for 3 years or something?
I lived in London. I spent my first year in a student residence. Well, the first and then the second year in another student residence. The first one was very close to the Warburg. I could like 2 minutes. It was very noisy. Very noisy because they were very young and they just didn't sleep. So it was very noisy for me, but kind of, I still have very good friends from that time. And it's lovely to be with 300 people from different countries, different cultures, different languages, different religions. And it was really, really, really nice at this point. I couldn't sleep, but apart from that, it was good. And then my second year, I went to Paddington. And I spent another a bit far away, but I could walk. And it was like about 40 minutes walking or something. And I was very near Hyde Park. And so in the morning, when it's freezing cold, I went there and I would feed the birds. It was lovely.
Okay.
And they would come to my hand. It was absolutely lovely.
So you were a full-time PhD student?
Yes. And then in the third year and fourth year, I had friends who lent me like an apartment and I was by myself.
So you had the luxury of studying just for your PhD thesis and doing nothing else.
Oh, I forgot to say something. I managed to get a grant from the Portuguese government.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Portuguese government. And it was a full-time grant. So I had to...
For 4 years?
For 4 years, I got to live in London.
Very good.
And to pay for my fees at the Warburg.
Oh, okay.
I was very, very lucky. And thank you, Portuguese government for this.
Now, after your MA and the resolution to do a PhD in the Warburg, who suggested the theme? Did Burnett do it, or did you come up with this making of an astrologer in 15th century France, the notebooks of S. Bell? How on earth did you find this theme for your dissertation?
I came up with the idea because in my research in Portugal, I had found a manuscript with an almanac. You mean like tables of planetary positions from 1469 to 1480. So an almanac with planetary positions. And in the end of the almanac, about 30 or 35 horoscopes of medieval people, medieval French kings and noblemen and noblewomen. So I was surprised because this is Lisbon. We had French horoscopes here. How did this happen? So I decided to study this document. And this is the document I took. I mean, a copy of the document I took to Charles Burnett. And I said, I would like to have a PhD on this. Do you think this is material enough for the PhD? And not only the document, but all the context. And he said, yes, it is interesting. And I think it would be a very good topic for research. But you should talk to David Just. David Just is another researcher. And he's very famous. I think you know him by name.
He's in Germany. He's in Germany, isn't he?
He's presently, at this point, is in Australia.
Because of COVID, he couldn't travel.
But he's in Germany with the Ptolomeos Arabus et Latinos. It's his project.
Oh, okay.
So he works with Ptolemy in Latin and Arabic manuscripts, translations. So he said, you should talk to David Just. And David was there in London at
Oh,
that point.
oh, okay.
So he introduced me to David. And I was with my laptop. David had his laptop. And Charles said, you should talk, because Helena has a manuscript that is very similar to the one to another one that you have. So I opened my laptop, and David opened his laptop, and we compared the documents, and they were not equal, but they were by the same end, and they had some repeated horoscopes. And his document had a name, Simon Belle, S. Belle, and my document, and they had cross references, so they were written by the same person. And this was amazing. I was at the Warburg in the photocopy room, and Charles was downstairs having a cup of coffee, and I went like running. And I went like running downstairs, and I said, it's the same, it's the same. And he asked me, like, very British, like, is there a problem with David? No. Like, he thought that David had some problem. I said, no. I just we found out that we have documents from the same author. So I incorporated the other document. And I must say that David Just has been like a second supervisor, because he was extremely generous with everything, with his knowledge, with his time, with the documents he had, with everything. And I have to thank him also, because he was extremely generous. So we changed documents, and I got the two documents, and I began working with the two documents. And it was extremely interesting, because the other document the first one was almanac, so planetary positions and horoscopes. And the other one was like astrological doctrine. The author collected from several authors, and then again horoscopes. Oh, and also he had this. He had one. He copied from someone else, John of Ascendant. He copied the 1425 Jupiter Saturn conjunction in Scorpio. He had 2 horary questions. He had 7 ingresses that he copied from Saint Claude. Well, he had several things. So this is like a student, a medieval student. He was like copying things and horoscopes and making his own horoscopes. And in the last horoscope, and he also copies 2 judgments of nativities, and then he makes one of his own. And all the documents are in Latin, except the one that is written in French, so his own judgment. So it is very interesting for me to see how someone in late medieval France studies astrology. That's why I call it the making of an astrologer.
Yeah.
Because it's like studying and experimenting and trying different things.
When you say late medieval,
15th
didn't you
century.
say 15th century? But that's already more or less Renaissance. 1453, Constantinople fell.
Yes.
So I always take 1453 as the beginning of the Renaissance. Would you agree as an historian?
I think the Renaissance, well, it's kind of a concept, isn't it? And the Renaissance happened in different times, always around 15th century, of course. But we have in Italy what we call the Quattrocento, which is also 15th century, but it's kind of early Renaissance. And I don't know, the concept is a bit, again, it's us contemporary people who are trying to fit everything in small boxes.
Yes.
Because the ideas, I always say, the ideas flow like water.
Yeah.
We tend to associate ideas with air, with the air element, this intellectual. Yeah. But ideas like flow, and they sip into other. And so yes, I would say I would agree with you in general terms, but I would say that Renaissance, whatever that means for different people, would happen somewhere during the 15th century, earlier for some, a bit later for some. And this author that I studied, Simon Belle, He's very Aristotelian in his methods, although he's aware of new ideas, of modern ideas that were modern for him.
Did you find out what astrological traditions he used, what authors he might have read?
He was experimented with several. He quotes and he copies doctrine from the Arabs, the so-called the Arabs, and he's very much Arabic in his tradition. But then he goes to incorporate, and this is the topic, actually, the topic of my PhD. He goes and incorporates some of the new modern ideas that were new and fresh at his time. So he experiments with other systems of terms or something like that, and he calculates the almutum or the longevity of some horoscopes, and he experiments new things like Ptolemaic things that were by then kind of returning to be in fashion.
Did you get an impression about his contemporaries? Well, we all know about Morin de Villefranche, okay, and we know about William Lilly, but we do not really know.
William Lilly is much later.
Later, but we know these two figures. I haven't heard any time of this figure. Today is the first time. How about the other figures? Did you find out how many figures were around? Was this a large community of people like him? On every court there was one, for example, or were those people in the courts below this level of him? There is, in my opinion, there seems to be. We have people like Philip Melanchthon. Okay, he was a professor in Wittenberg. Okay, that's a high level of astrology. Then we have
that is also later, yes.
Yeah, okay. Then we have Kepler. Okay, that's later too. Later. Then we have Bonatti. That's earlier. Yes. And between let's say between Bonatti and Kepler, what happened in between? Were all the astrologers in the courts on this level of Bonatti?
I don't know. Not all of them. I always say that astrology is like an aquarium full of fish.
Yes.
We have the big fish, the smaller fish that are like together with the big fish trying to get the small parts. And then we have the bottom feeders, like the ones that are not really practicing astrology, but they are practicing something similar. Okay. But they are not in the court. Well, it's like an aquarium full of fish, as I say.
What's your impression? How many big fish, really very large fishes, were swimming?
You mean in the 15th, 14th, 15th century?
Yes.
Quite a few. Few.
Okay.
And if you, I don't know if you have in French, there is in French language, Les Astrologues et le Pouvoir. That is a book like The Astrologers and Power that was written by Emmanuel Préau. Maxime Préau, sorry.
I don't know.
And it's about the astrologers that lived in France in 14th and 15th century in the court of kings.
Yes.
You also have about some works on, I think it's Monica Zolini, works on the court of the Galeazzo Maria Sforza in Italy. And you have a kingdom of stargazers with Michael Ryan, which I interviewed, charming man also. Well, we have a lot of information about specific courts.
So one could say from the court of Frederick II in Sicily up till the Florence Renaissance, we had quite a number of large fishes.
Yes, and the wife of Frederick II was a Portuguese princess, Eleanor, and she had her horoscope made by either Regiomontanus or Purback.
Oh, okay.
One of them.
Yeah, okay.
But this is all replying to your question, what I could understand from this man, he was not one of the top big fish.
Yeah.
He was like top, but intermediate top.
Yes.
Because he had access to lots of information, and he sometimes documents where he got the horoscope from. Okay. And what I could understand, it was like a net of influences, and he could get the horoscope. For instance, once he says the horoscope of this prince, Charles VIII, was come from Pichot, and I found out that Pichot is Pierre Choinet, one of the treasurers or something like that in the court. So not an astrologer, but someone in the court gave him the data for the baby who was born. So there was this kind of net. Yes. He also mentions Konrad Heingarder, And Conrad was he was from Swiss, but he was one of the astrologers of King Louis XI. And then he went to another duke, Duke Jean II de Bourbon, and he was kind of freelancer, and he wanted to be a freelancer, and he was a teacher of this man, Simon Belli. Well, all this is in my thesis, and the book will be out sometime next year, I would hope.
The Brill will be the publisher?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Very high class.
So the book will be, it's very good also, yes. Yeah. And I have my supervisor to thank because he made me work a lot. So it's okay.
Good. So we have this network of high-class astrologers, and now we have the network of 21st century researchers in the history of astrology.
Yes.
Which is a network as well. Let me start with this thing here. You have become a visiting fellow in Erlangen-Nuremberg. What is a visiting fellow in a time when you couldn't travel?
Yes, I was. I went there in January.
Oh, okay.
It was an extremely positive experience. They are very nice. And unfortunately, I had to return in March 22 because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
They asked every visiting fellows to return because Germany by then was pretty bad.
Yes,
and still is. But I am actually in contact with them. The group I had there, we are still in contact. We contact every week.
What is a visiting fellow? What do you do there?
We have to propose something. I proposed the study of, well, this is very nerdy. The study of the concepts of determinism throughout time, since antiquity until the 16th, 17th century, and how they influenced the methods for calculating longevity.
Okay.
So how these concepts, these changing concepts of determinism, influenced the methods for calculating the longevity. Because you come from a very fatalistic, so to say, or deterministic, it's different, concept in Greece. And how could you handle this? Because the human mind does not handle determinism happily. So how they would handle determinism? Because we are not deterministic by nature, and especially cultural people are not deterministic, even in ancient Greece. So how would they work with this? And then we come to Rome, and then medieval authors and everything. And how does this concept changes, the concept of determinism, and how does this reflect in different ways of calculating longevity? Because when we get to the Middle Ages, for instance, my author, Simon Belli, he calculates the longevity, and what he does, he uses two methods, and he gives this time frame. You will live more than this, and probably not longer than this. And between this and this, we have 15 years. So it's a long time.
Yeah.
Because he uses he uses Animodar, I think. No, not the Animodar, sorry. He uses one here, and then he uses primary directions. So primary directions would be more fatalistic.
This project in Erlangen-Nuremberg, is that a project where the final goal is a paper written by you, or is it something else, a colloquium or congress?
Well, basically, I can do whatever I want. They would host me for this time, this period.
Oh, it's a sort of a grant.
Yes, and I could do whatever I want, but I proposed, I have to do what I proposed, and I have my obligations toward the university. So every week I would attend their meetings, and they were very interesting.
Right.
And also I presented a lecture there, and I decided, and I participated in a book that they just launched, a very, very interesting book, Prognostication in the Middle Ages, big book. I can send you the link if you want.
Yes, please.
And Prognostication in the Middle Ages, and I wrote a small part of this book.
Okay.
And then I also wrote for their newsletter, for their journal, this article about this that I just told you about determinism.
Yes.
So it was very busy. I had to return. I was supposed to stay from January to June. I returned in March, but I continue working with them fortunately, because I enjoyed it very, very much. So I worked with them until June.
So now, let's now come to the Astra project, which is your project or the
And
project
my partners,
and your
yes,
partner. Who had the idea?
both of us.
And when did that happen? And why?
In this shape, again, it's not like it was not like this. It was something that we wanted to do. And as we are both in academic life, and as we are both studying astrology and bringing astrology into the university,
Yes.
we thought, why don't we? Because we are doing this already. There are some papers studying one technique from beginning to end. For instance, you have this remarkable paper written by Stefan Hallen. I don't know if you know him. He's
Osnabrück,
German.
yeah, he's in Osnabrück.
Amazing scholar and amazing person. And he wrote one paper on astrological terms. And he did exactly what we wanted to do. He began with the earliest testimonies, and he came up to the 17th century. So this is what we want to do. And we know Stefan, and we have been talking to him. And we said, why don't we do this like as an academic project? As an academic project, like the history of knowledge, because we are both in the history of science department. And of course, we are the loonies, the strangers, the astrologers, but it has been quite a good experience. And people, this is another interesting part. All the other academics, they tend to ask us some things that they don't understand.
Yes.
Sometimes we have these kind of workshops with them, like explaining for people who study mathematics, people who study navigation, people who study astronomy, people who study literature, poetry, and they need to understand astrological references. So we have this. And then they say, okay, now I understand what they mean by combust or whatever. So this is very interesting. So we thought, since we are in academia, why don't we begin a project that encompasses this? It's very ambitious, I know. I don't know if we will live enough to end it, but at least
how is it funded?
it is not.
Okay, but the University of Lisbon is supporting it.
Yes.
And Erlangen-Nuremberg is a partner of the Lisbon University, I believe. And it's the two of you and then some advisory board members, right?
Yes, the board membership is great because we
Yes.
have all the big names.
You got them all. Yeah, you got them all. All the big names are there.
Yes.
And you have a conference planned, I believe, for next year. Is that right?
Yes, I don't know if it will come to happen because it's because of COVID.
Yes, but if it happens, that would be one part of the project to have conferences, right?
Yes.
And then you have these videos, the podcast, the Astra Project podcast, which is very interesting. I have a special playlist on my channel for that. What else is it you're doing? You're doing conferences, you're doing workshops with the people in this network.
Yes, and we intend to produce books.
Oh,
we intend to
okay.
produce
Okay.
work, like instruments for historians of astrology.
Yes. Okay. Now let's come up to another conference I found, which is this one, the European Conference on Astrology in Varna, Bulgaria. This was 2019, the first one, and there is a second one on Zoom basis this year. Can you tell us about this European conference? What that is? These are astrologers, right?
I have no idea, to be honest, because I was contacted by Philip Filipov, a man called Philip Filipov, and if I wanted to go to Varna, and I couldn't by then.
Oh, okay.
And so if I could present something via like a pre-recorded conference, and I said yes.
Oh, okay.
And then I was really completely overwhelmed with work, and I wrote and I said, look, Philip, I'm sorry, but I cannot. Okay. And then he insisted a lot, and then we recorded, Louise and I, we recorded something about traditional astrology. And he replied to me saying, okay, this is great, thank you, it is okay. And then he never replied to me again. And I sent him several messages like, how did people react? Because then I found out that the conference is like from the kind of ancient until the modern advanced tradition astrology. So it's kind of biased, like not good and then very good.
Okay.
And we were like talking about traditional astrology and explaining why is it important to learn traditional astrology today. For the reasons I told you before, like people need to know the tradition. Even if they want to work with contemporary, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But they need to know the roots. Otherwise, they cannot. And you see some people that the contemporary, not all of them, of course, but some of them, if you take the new planets of the horoscope, they are lost and they cannot interpret.
Yes, okay.
That is why they don't know the tradition. And all they do is interpret in regarding the new planets.
Yes, okay.
And they always get the new planets. If you take the new planets, they are lost. So this is not good. This is not good. These people, and I'm sure they are they have good intentions. I'm sure they are intelligent, and it's not their fault. They were taught like this. But these people, and I'm sure they are clever enough, if they learn the tradition, they will be able to work with or without the new planet, or with them, that's fine.
Okay.
But they would be solid. That is what I was talking in Varna, but I don't know much about them, to be honest.
Coming back to Coco von Stuttgart. Coco von Stuttgart is a Döbereiner astrologer originally. I had a reading with him in Delmenhorst when he was very young. Did the fact that you came along with this traditional approach, did you change his worldview on astrology?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
He's quite traditional, I think.
Well, he wasn't when he was young. He was a psychological
None of us
astrologer.
were. None of us were when we were young.
Okay, that comes to my last question. Last poor part of questions. We have this network of researchers in the history of astrology worldwide, which functions rather well. They're very good people. They're serious people. Charles Burnett is a grandmaster. How many real astrologers are part of that network of history research? You have yourself, your husband, then you have Dorian Greenbaum, I believe. She is both. Then you have Nicholas Campion. He's sort of both.
Angela Voss.
Yes, okay. Yeah, Angela Voss, yes, and Patrick Curry, probably, you could say.
Well, I'm not outing anyone.
But how about the rest of the world? That's just a handful.
I don't know. I cannot tell you for the reason that I don't know which of them want to be outed.
Okay.
Or they want to remain in the closet. That's fine for me.
Okay.
It's their right.
So basically you are saying it's still a little bit to be cautious to out yourself as a historian researcher on the one side with academic standards and qualifications like you have, and then to say I am a practicing astrologer as well because I know my field. That's not accepted yet still.
I think if you are a really serious astrologer, not just someone who says things, but if you are a really serious, I think it's an advantage for academic work.
It is, obviously.
Because you know not only the theory but the practice.
Yes.
And we can see that there's a difference between people who actually work with astrology directly and people who just have this academic knowledge. So this is an advantage. Let's be clear about this. But it's kind of, I don't like when people are in this working with astrology and then they turn into their other academics and say, oh, but you don't believe, what's your sign? This is kind of, not good. Yes. Not good. And it's kind of moving away from seriousness. What I have to, if I had to give some advice to people who are now beginning and they are astrologers and they want to be taken seriously as academics, first of all, keep things separated. Don't hide. There's nothing to hide. It's not a bad thing to do, but don't publicize.
Yes.
Keep it neutral, very much neutral, because I don't like when people come. It looks like they have no personality and they need astrology to have a personality. And that's not good. When people come and, oh, this is me and I'm an astrologer. Well, okay, but before you being an astrologer, you were already a person. Yes. So what I would say to people that are now beginning and they want to be taken seriously, don't hide. There's nothing to hide. Don't publicize. Just be neutral. And the other thing is, it's better to let people know you as a competent person, as intelligent, as an academic, and then let astrology come into the picture.
Okay.
Because if they know you since the beginning, like, like Helena the astrologer, it's like Bob the builder, it's like something that it's not good, and they are biased. If they know you're an astrologer since the beginning, most of them would be biased towards you, and then it doesn't matter what you do. You can be the most intelligent person, but they would not take you serious forever.
So we still have this problem in academia.
Not everywhere, and it is getting better. I have to thank Dorian. She's my good friend, and I have to thank people like Dorian Greenbaum, because she was working like an icebreaker.
Yes.
She opened the gates for everybody.
Well, she had one lady before her, Frances Yates, on the not astrology part.
Yes.
That was the first in the Warburg Institute, I believe. Let's come back to traditional astrology and Hellenistic astrology. We have your book, this one. We have this one from Chris Brennan, Hellenistic astrology.
Yes.
And we have Dimitra George, the first volume of
Ancient Astrology. Yes.
Just imagine she's writing a second book of this volume. Are these the
Dimitra
three?
is writing a second book?
Yeah, the part 2.
Wow, quite impressive.
I had
They are really big books.
She did email me the second part should be published in December somewhere.
Oh, great.
So we have these 4 books, let's say. In your knowledge, is this what we have nowadays in modern textbooks about traditional astrology? Or did I miss an author which is, well, we have John Frawley, of course. Okay, Frawley. We have to integrate Frawley, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you like him?
Personally, I don't know him.
About his writings, how do you like his writings, his books?
I think John was kind of a bit hasty to take some conclusions, and then he returned,
Oh, okay.
He said some things like, this is like this. And then in the other book, he says, oh, I was not right.
Okay. So let's go back to these. Let's go back to these 3 authors.
But let me just say something. This from John shows integrity also.
Yes. Okay. Sure.
It shows integrity because
Yeah.
It's not everybody that says is great enough to say this.
That's true, but the other people like Robert Solow and Sue Ward and Robert Smith and Benjamin Dykes, they haven't written this sort of piece of work like for modern students. Are these the only? These are the only books.
I don't know. We are like mixing 2 things. Some people like Ben, they translate.
Yes.
It's a specific kind of book.
Very good work. Very, very important.
Very good work and very much work. And the Ben mostly translates and also he comments, of course, but it's more like focused on translation.
Yes.
And bringing to us the sources.
Yes.
So thank you, Ben, very much. It's a great work and very, very important, like Robert Smith and other people like this, that they work with sources and then translate sources.
Yeah, but how do you explain that Robert Hand, if we take this, well, this is a little book about traditional astrology, but Robert Hand has written a lot of thick books about the psychological astrology, sort of.
I don't know. Robert has to explain. Not
me. This I'm missing. I don't know. Okay, let's frame it differently. Is the movement to incorporate this solid traditional astrology into the astrological practice of 21st century, is that something which will become a movement which grows and grows and grows and becomes mainstream, or do you think it remains a niche? What's your prognostication?
I sincerely hope it remains mainstream, because the tradition is something that should not be wasted. Yes. And it will bring a lot into contemporary astrologers. They don't have to become traditionalists, but they have to know the tricks of their trade. They have to know their trade, and this will be very good for them. Unfortunately, some people are very much opposed to this.
Okay.
That's their problem, of course. And I think that some years ago, we had a stronger traditional community. Now it's becoming, I would say, more permissive and kind of everything goes. And I really don't like that. Some
Okay.
people confuse being open minded, which is good, and being permissive, which is not so good.
Yes. Okay. So, uh, your perspective of the 21st century, 2021, next year, what are your aspirations? You will continue with the Astro project, I suppose. You still have your school, I suppose, the
Yes,
academy. Now it's called
very
academy.
much. Yes.
How many pupils do you normally have?
It changes, but we have small groups of 10, 12 students,
Okay.
several groups. And now we are all online, which is a
Yes.
pity, but it is a very positive experience. What we do in Lisbon, it's we don't publicize too much because we don't want the people who are just in astrology for as a hobby or something. We want people who actually want to study, and we promote also. We encourage them to investigate as in academia. Like we encourage them to investigate, and so they have small projects of their own. We had, for instance, one student that worked with how do you say, statistics, and he studied. And we had another one who was a nurse for babies, like obstetric nurse. So together, he got the data, not the names, of course, but data from babies born in one entire month, and we knew the date, the birth date and time, and if it was a boy or girl, and the conditions of birth. It was natural birth or cesarean. Not the names of the babies, not privacy was protected, of course. And then he studied this statistically and related to ascending signs, for instance. And for instance, spontaneous birth was more towards the beginning of a sign, and not like several interesting data.
That's a statistical approach like Cocola, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
I don't really encourage statistics because
Yeah.
numbers
No,
make us
no,
blind
no.
to
Yeah,
quality.
yeah, that's right.
Quantity makes us blind to quality,
Yeah,
but
that's
they
right.
were doing this and it was very, very interesting. And we study other things, and so we encourage them to study, and it's a school that is kind of private because it's not for everybody. We don't want to have thousands of people and then they don't do anything with astrology. We want people who actually.
So you are sort of an elite approach. You don't
I
take
don't know
everybody.
what you mean by elite.
Well,
If
you
it's
check who is coming, right?
we don't, but we make it academic. So people who are
All
just
right.
in here for their own horoscope, for instance, they can come to a consultation. They don't need to
Yes. Okay.
spend 3 years for
So you
for their
you
own
s- you
horoscope.
sort of you sort of you try to establish a sort of academic education outside of academia.
Yes, and it's more like a natural. It's not elite,
Yeah.
really not. We have peoples from all walks of life, and we really like them. But it's kind of more like a natural thing.
And it's done in Portuguese. The language is Portuguese. Or do
Both
you?
we have classes in Portuguese and in English.
Oh, you have English classes.
Yes, online English classes. Yes.
Oh, you have online courses permanently or only because of COVID?
Now we have them permanently, but we always had
Okay.
occasional online courses,
Okay.
and they are in English. In English
Okay.
language, we have basic courses based on the book and the
Yes.
other books that we wrote, and also advanced courses. For instance, people who
Sure.
don't want to go to the basic course and they already know the tradition. They don't the tradition. They need to know a bit of the tradition, and they want to perfect some skills or some specific topics, like, for instance, let's say predictions or predictive techniques or well, other things. Like sometimes people say that the tradition doesn't have psychology, and we say otherwise. We can study all the motivation, behavior, mentality, all temperament. So all this together is psychology. But the word psychology began to exist in the I think 18th century or something like that. But the study of human psychology already existed before,
Yes. Yes.
just with another word, another name. So people
So
want to study
you're
this.
competitive in the market of educating people in astrology with the focus on traditional astrology. Is there a network of people working together? Chris Brennan,
Well,
you have a good relationship with Chris Brennan, I believe.
yes, of course, yes.
But that's solitary, or do you have a lot of people in this network of traditional schools talking about the academic approach to traditional astrology in
Outside academia.
outside of academia, but
Well, I
being
think
sort of an academic study?
things happen naturally, and we do have a very informal net
Oh,
of,
okay.
and we kind of, it's kind of help each other. Like, do you know of this book? Have you found this? Or when a new book is out, or we say, oh,
Yes.
have you seen this? Have you read this? Well, not only with Chris, but in general terms, yes.
So you have a sort of email distributing network.
Yes,
Ah, okay.
sometimes, yes.
Yeah. But
Or
that's not all.
messages or something.
Yeah, but you don't have in religious science. There is a network, Yggdrasil, where all the science researchers communicate.
Yggdrasil, what a great name.
Yeah, that's a great name. It's in religious science, but you don't have that yet. A sort of
Not
form,
officially, not
permanently,
officially.
not yet. Okay.
Well,
So
not that I know of. Maybe they
no,
have it, that they didn't invite
you
me.
could be. So
Could be.
did I miss to ask you something important?
I think it was quite thorough and very nice.
Okay.
I enjoyed it very much. I don't know what I could tell you more. Oh, maybe something for people who think about studying astrology and studying the tradition. Sometimes people shy away from the tradition because they think it's very uh, dry or something very difficult. Um, I have something from my personal experience that I would like to share. When I began studying astrology, as I said, it was contemporary astrology. It was fascinating to me, of course, interesting to me, but I was always thinking that should be more, we should have more. When I began studying the tradition, I didn't have to lose anything. I gain more
Okay.
because people tend to, I don't know, they have to let go of the planet, or something, or change the house system, or the orbs change and therefore the aspects get different. Well, that is fine. It is fine. We gain so much. And when I began studying the tradition, my feeling, my inner feeling was like arriving home, you know like there was something inside, because we tend to think of tradition, of astrology in 21st century. We think of astrology as something that people do. We practice astrology, and so people before us has practiced astrology, and that is also right. That is right, people have practiced astrology, but also people had lived astrology. They have lived in a universe where there was correlation between planetary configurations and events on Earth. And this is more than practice, this is a mind frame.
Yes.
When we find the tradition, we resume and we return to this mind frame. And this is coming home. And we don't need to lose anything from our 21st century mentality. We can be very technocratic, we can be very rational, we can be very objective, we can be anything that we want in 21st century parameters. And this is another thing that we add to us. Like we have two hemispheres in the brain and they work in different things. This is also another thing that we add to us. So we gain a lot when we learn something. And I'm now speaking as an historian, because when we understand history, and when we understand what happened before us, it's not just like studying the past, it's studying the the ideas, studying everything that came before us and ourselves. So this is something that we gain. So this is
Yes.
the thing that I would like to share.
And I was wondering, my focus of research is finding the philosophy of astrology, um, sort of why does it work? We both know it works.
That is the big question, isn't it?
I'm at the brink of becoming a believer in Animas Mundi and Dionysius Areopagita and the angel hierarchy, and that is a step further than what you just said, because then you are living in a belief system, because you can't prove the angels. But it might be that they are there, and they might be responsible why astrology works. But that's another topic, not for today. The disclaimer for the copyright: I have the right to publish this unedited, uncut on my YouTube channel and social media and on my internet homepage. And Dr. Avelar has the right to do whatever she likes with the footage.
You can also edit if you prefer. You can also edit. I'm perfectly okay with this.
No, this never happened. That's my privilege. I don't do that because I want to be clear. There is nothing cut out. But you can use it in whatever fashion you like. You can put music under it. You could pictures on it. You could do a video about it. That's the disclaimer. I want we talk a little bit later when I finish the recording. For now, thank you very much to Lisbon, and
thank you. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure meeting you, and it was a pleasure to talking to you. And I hope we keep in contact.
Very good. And to the visitors of our video, thanks for showing by. Till next time, and I stop the recording.